is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's game day for the Bucs. They're down in New Orleans to get the second half of their season underway against the Pelicans. Milwaukee entered the All-Star break, having won 4 of their final 5 games to get to 23-30 on the year and in 11th place in the Eastern Conference. Left them a game and a half back of Charlotte for the final spot in the play-in games. Tip is at 7. Turn to the Badgers. They are going to host Iowa on Sunday. 2 teams separated by just a game in the stands, with Wisconsin at 10-5, Hawkeyes at 9-6. It's going to be the lone meeting between the 2 schools this year. Tip on Sunday is at 3. Meanwhile, out at spring training, Brewers getting ready for their Cactus League opener tomorrow against Cleveland. They are doing so after manager Pat Murphy got a multi-year extension. The team announced it this morning. Christian Yelich credits Murphy for his role in the team's success over the past couple of years.
There's nothing that you can do that's like, oh, well, this had this much impact on the group, but success and all that starts from the top and works its way down. And when you have somebody that has a strong, consistent message and is good at motivating people, good at bringing the best out of guys and getting guys on the same page, it makes a difference over the course of 6 months, I
got to be the Brewers and Guardians tomorrow in Arizona.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Packers have started their interviews for a new special teams coordinator, reportedly set 3 interviews, though one of them has already taken another job elsewhere. Among the interviews include current Saints assistant special teams coach Kyle Wilbur. Coach Matt LaFleur looking for his 4th special teams coordinator since taking over in 2019. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
It's just the relationships for sure. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't even remember some of the games, you know what I mean? Like some stand out, but it's not that. It's the relationships. The best part of the job is seeing guys believe in themselves. When you see a young player come up and now know that they belong and know that not only they belong and, hey, I'm really good at this, and they've built like a habitual way of getting better. God, that's just a great feeling, man. So, and having my family around at the same time, my kids get to be around it. Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. We love having him around. And, I know this was his last one that he had, so it's good that he'll be here for this year, at least a couple more, and hopefully in the future.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
There's some Pat Murphy extension audio. Murphy talking about his extension and his favorite parts of doing the job. And I thought that comment was very Pat Murphy. Very, like, if you had never heard Pat Murphy speak, you never listened to him before, you'd hear that cut and be like, oh, that sounds like a contemplative speaker, someone who loves coaching, someone who, I'll play you that cut here and again in a minute or two because I want to react to it further. But that cut is very Pat Murphy, just like that Christian Yelich cut was very Christian Yelich. Hey, Christian, what do you think of Pat Murphy getting extended? Happy for him. Obviously, he's done a good job. I mean, we only had 1 year left, so now he has 4 years, and that means he'll be around for at least more years. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. I have more from Yelich, too. I don't mean to pick on him because I do like listening to him talk. I found as I'm listening to those 2 comments, it's like, wow, if those 2 chunks of audio don't sum up the speaker in each, I don't know which ones would. This is the Wisco Sports Show. My name is Grant Bills. That's where we will begin. Pat Murphy's extension. We were talking Brewers last night, and we mentioned it. I have some contract figures. Matt Arnold spoke about it. We heard a little bit from Pat Murphy and some of the players between last night and this morning, so I'll bring you some of that audio. We can react a little bit more in detail. And then the rest of the show, we'll hit the likely things. I have a Packers thing we didn't get to yesterday, maybe a little Badgers basketball, but I want to bring back an old classic, a Free Phones Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, you can set the agenda. I'll take your phone calls right away if you're ready, so you can jump in, 608-321-1670. It's a Free Phones Friday. It's a Fins Up Friday. Fins Up. It's also a Fish Fry Friday. My fellow Catholics and fish fry observers, today it's our meal of penance. We cannot eat meat today. No sausage, no ham, no steak. Instead, only fish. Deep fried and battered in in beer. My brother in Christ, it's my meal of penance. So that's what we got on the docket tonight. I want to play that Murphy cut one more time. I just think this is, well, I'm just going to play it, and then I'll tell you why I think it's hilarious. Here's Pat Murphy one more time about his favorite parts of coaching, just reflecting on an extension in his time so far in Milwaukee.
It's just the relationships for sure. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't even remember some of the games, you know what I mean? Like some stand out, but it's not that. It's the relationships. The best part of the job is seeing guys believe in themselves. You know, when you see a young player come up and now know that they belong and know that not only they belong and, hey, I'm really good at this, and they've built like a habitual way of getting better. God, that's just a great feeling, man. So, you know, and having my family around at the same time, my kids get to be around it. Yeah, that's the best part of it.
So that's very nice. It's very thoughtful. I think making a point of like, look, I forget some of the games very quickly. I don't. I remember them all, especially the losses, especially the ones that are early in the season, in which Vinny Capra or Elvin Rodriguez plays a role. I don't forget any of the losses. Glad Pat Murphy does. Just talking about the relationships with his players and speaking more like a coach than a manager, right? Seeing these guys come up through the ranks, realize they can do it and do it at a high level, seeing that light go on in a player's brain. Pretty cool. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to that cut. It's 41 seconds long. Wow, that's pretty cool. As Brewers fans, we're lucky to have a team that wins a lot and that is competitive every year. Lots of entertainment, lots of passion. So we're lucky for that. As a radio host and as a Brewers fan that likes consuming content, I like listening to Brewers podcasts. I like reading Brewers stories. Kurt Hogg's going to be here. I love reading Kurt's work and listening to his podcast. Pat Murphy's a content machine. Lots of good quotes, lots of good clips. I also, and maybe this is because I'm just a bad person, I thought of Craig Counsell listening to that cut, and I'm like, I don't know if Craig Counsell gave a more interesting comment. I don't know if Craig Counsell in his entire time in Milwaukee ever said 41 seconds combined worth of things that were that interesting or that insightful. Like just the difference. Grant, he hasn't been here for 3 years. Yeah, I know. And yet, Bob Nightingale tweeting today. I don't know why Bob Nightingale. I love Bob Nightingale so much. And the only way that I can describe why I love him, the only way that I can articulate why I love him is through this anecdote. This is always I say about Bob Nightingale. He's on Bill's show a good amount, maybe a couple times throughout the season when he's got a story or when there's a big Brewers headline where let's get one of the national guys. Let's go outside of Wisconsin. Let's go get a big time. The reason I love Bob Nightingale is probably currently one of the top 3, 5, 6, 7 baseball writers we have. And every time he's on Bill's show, he sounds confused why we're having him on, and he sounds confused as to why we're asking him questions. You know what I mean? Like, Bob, what do you think of this move? I mean, obviously, long-reaching ramifications all over the league with this signing or this trade. What do you think, Bob? What are you hearing? What do you know? And Bob will go, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a big deal. It's like, you're Bob Nightingale. Why do you... So I don't know what possessed Bob Nightingale to tweet this. He was the only person that I saw who made note of this on the internet today. He tweeted at 10:30 this morning, Chicago Cubs manager Craig Counsell on Pat Murphy's new 3-year contract with the Milwaukee Brewers. Quote, I'm thrilled for him. Thrilled. That's a tweet that should be framed, both for the artwork itself, the quote from Craig Counsell, and the artist presenting it. It's a perfect artifact, and it sums up perfectly both Bob Nightingale and Craig Counsell. It sums up Bob Nightingale in that, like, I don't know who was asking for that quote. I don't know who, but of course, Bob's the one presenting it. Oh, and it sums up Craig Counsell because he's a dick. Speaking of Craig Counsell, by the way, I don't know if any of you noticed this. This snuck under the radar. I've deleted Twitter off my phone. It's a Lenten challenge that I'm making myself. I deleted Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter off my phone because then I just don't have reason to pick it up and scroll. Plus, I spend way too much time on Twitter when I'm at work with good reason. Like I'm trying to find things for the show and I'm making sure that I'm not missing any news. But I don't eat when I get home. This was tweeted at 6:48 last night, so I wasn't paying attention. From Jeff Passan. Pat Murphy's new deal with the Milwaukee Brewers, which adds 2 years onto his contract and includes a club option for 2029, guarantees $8.95 million in new money and makes him one of the highest paid managers in Major League Baseball, sources tell ESPN. First on the agreement, Ken Rosenthal. Okay, so let's try to do the math really quick. It adds 2 new years onto his contract, which means he has 3 years remaining, right? So the year that he already had, which was this year, plus 2 more. And it guarantees $8.95 million in new money, which means I don't know how much he was set to make this year. If the top guys, are making around 8, not around 8, that's what Craig is making. Let's say Pat Murphy was making 4. And I doubt he was making that much, but let's say he was making 4. That means, and I'm going to pull out the calculator because I'm no math whiz and I want to make sure that I get this correct. Pat Murphy, over the course of his next 3 years, the contract, the year under that he had remaining, plus the 2, let's say was going to make $8.95 million plus 4. Let's just call it an even 13, which I doubt it's that much. I doubt Pat Murphy was making that much, but I'll be generous. Let's say he sets to make $13 million in guaranteed dollars over the next 3 years. 13 divided by 3 is $4.3 million. So somewhere, again, I doubt he's even making this much. Pat Murphy is making somewhere around $4.3 million per year. I just have to point out, I have to scratch this itch. I'm sorry, because I'm a miserable man. That Craig Counsell left the Brewers to go to the Cubs and took that $8 million contract, largely in part, we were told, to advance the market for managers in Major League Baseball, which, as we were reminded and told at the time, we were taught at the time, our bozo chimpanzee brains couldn't possibly have grasped how bleak the manager market had gotten. Craig Counsell took that job with the Chicago Cubs to advance the manager market for those who would follow, not just for himself. He didn't go to Chicago, a rival, and take an $8 million a year salary. For him, it was a selfless act to advance the salary scale for those who would follow him, for those who would get contract extensions in the future. Well, the reigning manager of the year, hard to argue there would be a more qualified, more valuable manager in baseball at this point than Pat Murphy. Certainly he stands to make more than Craig Counsell per year, because Craig Counsell, in all his brilliance and generosity, his magnanimous move to Chicago to secure higher pay for future managers, for $8 million a year, certainly Pat Murphy would eclipse that, correct? Now, maybe a first-time manager isn't going to make $8 million right away. I mean, Craig had more than earned that figure with one playoff series win in 2018 in Milwaukee. But certainly a manager of Pat Murphy's stature, the 2-time reigning manager of the year, who's doing it at a level unseen in a market like Milwaukee, certainly then he would reap the benefits. He would reap what Craig Counsell sowed a couple of years ago. Certainly, Pat Murphy's making more than at least he's matching Craig Counsell's salary. I must have done this math wrong. Hold on. So we agreed about 13 generously. Pat Murphy has $13 million in guaranteed money remaining on his deal. Divided by 3. I'm using a calculator. I want to get this right. 13 divided by 3. 3 years left on his contract. 13 divided by 3 is 4.3. Well, that can't be right. He can't only be making 4 some a year. That's almost half what Craig Counsell is making. And I was told that something must be wrong here. Did the Brewers not know? Did the Brewers not know in drawing up this contract that Craig Counsell had advanced the pay scale for managers for not just years, but probably decades to come? I mean, Craig Counsell basically was baseball Jesus. He died on the rivalry cross so those who followed him would make more money. The 2-time reigning manager of the year, certainly he can't only be making half what Counsell's making. Let me pull up the calculator on my computer. I haven't updated my phone, so that's probably not working. Let me go to calculator.net here. I just want to make sure this figure is right. 13 million in guaranteed money divided by 3 remaining at 4.3. 4 doesn't make any sense. Huh. Well, something's not adding up. Either Craig Counsell didn't advance the manager market the way that he so boldly proclaimed at the time, or I don't know. Maybe the internet's not working. Maybe the calculators aren't working. Maybe there's a worldwide calculator. Did the Russians EMP? Maybe the Canadians, in advance of this gold medal game, did they EMP all of our calculators? Something's not tracking. I want to play you just a little bit of Matt Arnold talking about Pat Murphy's extension. I'm not going to give you the full 4 minutes. Let's do about 2 minutes of this because there's one thing specifically that I want to draw your attention to. I'm going to check this math while Matt Arnold's speaking.
Question answer, get that done as games get considered.
Yeah, thrilled to get it done. Obviously happy for Murph and everything he's done for this franchise. And I'm thrilled for him, for his family. And I've loved partnering with him for a number of years and happy we can keep it going.
How have you seen Murph grow into the roles?
We've been together for a decade, and what I love about Murph is that he always wants to learn. He's always looking to grow, get better. Even if we won 97 games, the second you get eliminated, it's like, what can we do better? And I love that about him.
How do you feel about the way that just your respective perspective on the game, how those things have combined as you
respective perspective? Nicely done, Jackster.
Talked with each other and made
over
the last few years.
Yeah, we have different skill sets, we have different backgrounds, and I think that's what makes us great. All of us, I think we bring a lot of different people together in the Brewers community, not just in-house, but externally as well. And I think we try to blend a lot of those perspectives together, and I really, really appreciate Murph's perspective.
What do you think about being able to have your new title this year, Murph's extension the same year? A lot of your lieutenants are sticking around. Just continuity, given what normally happens to small market teams.
Yeah, love that. I mean, obviously, when you're together, you just understand what people's strengths and weaknesses are, and continue to build on those with each other and challenge each other. Have that trust that we've had for a lot of years, and everyone on the same page. And we have a great group in the clubhouse, upstairs in the front office, and I love collaborating with everybody involved.
What do you think it is about Murph that seems to make him the right leader, has made him the right leader for this specific group of guys that you have in the clubhouse?
He's one of one. He's special, and I love the fact that he wants to continue to challenge everyone in the room and try to make everyone better. And I think he's not afraid. He's competitive. He's going to fight you tooth and nail for a win and to make you better off the field. And he cares about people, and I love that about him.
How difficult is that, Matt? How difficult is that? He can be tough. He can be old school.
Sure.
But yet he can
be old school.
Yeah. I think there's value in the old school mentality, absolutely. But he's not completely old school. Like, he's not closed-minded. There's a difference between those two. And I think he's very open to ideas and continuing to get better, like I said. And I think that's the goal here for all of us. We all want to get better.
So it's a little difficult to hear the question. And I couldn't pick out who the question asker was, but in the 2 minutes and 20 seconds that I just played you, there were two kind of different types of questions that both kind of got at the same thing. But Matt Arnold, in two different answers in 2 minutes and 20 seconds there, pushed back on the idea a little bit that Pat Murphy is some old school boomer, respectfully. Like, wanted to point out he's smart. He always wants to learn. He always wants to advance. And then when that second question, like the second question asker used the term old school, and I think the spirit of the question was, well, Matt, you're such a friggin' nerd, and Pat Murphy's such a friggin' meathead. How does that work? Let me translate that question and dumb it down to, I think, what basically what it's saying. And Matt Arnold jumped in and said, well, I wouldn't even go so far as to say he's old school. I found that interesting because I think a reason why so many people like Murph, at least us, viewers, watchers, consumers, we're so entertained. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's a change up from what so much of the sport has become. And yet the general manager, who's as nerdy as the day is long, Matt Arnold, says, Pat Murphy's he's not quite the old man. He's not quite the bulldog. He's not quite the old school, caveman that everyone thinks he is. I just think that's interesting. I'm gonna file that away. I'm gonna bookmark that. I'll take your calls on the other side. I have comments from Christian Yelich, a couple more comments from Pat Murphy. So I thought we'd start with some Brewers tonight, but it is a Fish Fry Friday. It's a Fins Up Friday, and most importantly, for the first time in a while, it's a Free Phones Friday. Call me on whatever you want. We can bounce from topic to topic. I'll get to you next. 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, welcome back. It's a Free Phones Friday. Truly, we haven't done one of these in a while. So my opening thoughts were on the Brewers, Pat Murphy's extension. We can keep going on that, or we can talk about whatever you want. We can bounce around. Right to your phone calls as promised. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. It's the old Clemhead. How you doing?
The old Clemhead. Mike, I am going to be up in your neck of the woods. I'm visiting my parents tomorrow up in the beautiful Chippewa Valley. So I will be, I'll be thinking of you, Clemhead. How have you been?
Pretty good. I just was really interested in your subject today. So
okay,
I got two things. First of all, Craig Counsell deserts Milwaukee. The city and franchise that made him what he is today for a big paycheck, and he did it all for his fellow MLB managers and future MLB managers. That is one altruistic son of a gun.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying.
What a saint. You cannot dislike him as much as I do. I'm sorry, you can't.
He generously advanced the manager pay scale for years to come, yet the two-time reigning NL Manager of the Year is going to make about half yearly of what Craig Counsell makes.
Man, it's really something, isn't it? Well, Chicago could afford it, I guess, more than Milwaukee can. But yeah, well, my second point is I accidentally ate meat today, and I don't know if I'm going to go to hell or if I'm going to spend eternity in heaven. But I'll be in the room next to the ice machine for all eternity. And I'm a little worried.
I was going to say you probably won't go to hell for that, but they'll make you do 15 minutes in purgatory. What kind of meat was it?
So there's pepperoni, there was sausage, there was ham, there was a leftover pizza.
Oh, well, the meat was more of a garnish on the slice. That maybe 10 minutes in purgatory. If you had eaten a steak straight up, then that would be a harsher penalty.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Father Grant. I really appreciate that. I'll say a couple of Hail Marys and I'll be all right. But
Clem, here's what you do. You say a couple Hail Marys and then you go eat 4 pieces of deep fried fish tonight. That's your meal of penance.
Yeah, that's the only way to eat fish because I'm not really a huge fish fan, but if it's got enough stuff on it, I can eat it. But I do love shrimp though, and plus on Fridays during Lent you can't eat peanut butter or bean burritos, so it's just an alternative for.
Or you
can.
Oh,
so it's an alternative to fish.
I
can eat shrimp every day.
Shrimp is very healthy. Clemhead, we just got loaded phone lines. We'll talk more soon. I had some shrimp this morning. I ate a sausage patty because. And look, I'll sit in purgatory for that. But there was free breakfast in the basement in our work lobby today. There was an event, and I had to make a call. They were out of eggs, and it was a matter of sustenance. It's like there's free protein sitting here in front of me. I didn't pack a lunch. Sorry, Jesus. Again, I'll say 10 Hail Marys, a glory be, a Hail Holy Queen, and I'll eat a plate of deep fried fish as my penance meal tonight. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Dan from the La Crosse area.
Oh, the La Crosse area. Well, what's going on, Dan?
Yeah, well, I just want to help you with your Pat Murphy math.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's going on is it said that there was $8.9 million in new money.
Okay.
So let's round that to 9 because it's easier. And then he's got 3 years on the contract. So if you take the 9 and divide it by 3, that's $3 million a year of new money.
Oh.
Not counting what he's earning now. So you guessed maybe he's making 4. If you add the 3 to the 4, that's 7.
I would be liberally expecting him to make 4. I feel like he's not making 4.
Yeah, and that was a guess, right? That was a guess. But hey, so I love the show. First time caller. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Look, I'm just trying to do math on the fly. I would just expect, again, if the manager pay scale has been advanced, Craig Counsell has won 1 playoff series since 2018. Pat Murphy has won, that same amount. Plus, he's got a couple managers of the year. And Pat Murphy's a lot less runway. A couple manager of the year, reigning 2-time. Certainly that he's got to be making more than that. That's all I'm pointing out. I just want to understand the facts as they've been presented to us. That's all, Dan. All right, line number 3. Who's this? Hello?
Hey, is this Brody?
Is this who?
This is Brody from Mount Mound.
Oh, Brody. I thought you were asking. I'm like, if you're looking for Brody, you're in the wrong place. But no, Brody, you are in the right place. What's going on?
First time caller. What's up,
Brody?
I got 2 things. For the Bucks, what are your thoughts on trading Giannis? I was all for it, and now I'm against it. What do you?
Well, if Giannis wants to leave in the offseason, then just here's the thing. If Giannis is going to be here but be like half in, half out, and I think at times through the first part of the season that was kind of his thing, then I would rather trade him. You know what I mean? Like get a haul.
Yeah, I think it's more frustrating. Like I just want him to make a decision, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the here's the problem. Giannis said before the year he was waxing and waning. They weren't really sure. This is how it needs to go. Giannis, if you are committing to us for at least the next year, then we're not readdressing this until the offseason. We're not coming back in a month or a month and a half. You are bought in. You are all in. We're not going to have any drama. We're not going to have any innuendos. We're going to expect you to be a good trooper all year, even if it doesn't go well. And I don't really think that's how it's gone. So if we're just going to run this back next season, even if there's reason to think the team is going to be better, I would just rather trade him in the summer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anything else, Brody?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, go Mounders. Appreciate the call. I thought you said you had 2 things. Yeah, that would be my stance on Giannis. You know, there's going to be a chance this offseason where they'll have some ammo, they'll have some picks, they'll have some money. And I don't doubt that the Bucks will put together a plan and pitch Giannis. This is what we want to do. This is what we're thinking. If we do this, will you sign an extension? And if Giannis says no, well, then that's one thing, because I don't think the Bucks want to lose him for nothing. But if Giannis is like, oh, I don't know. I can't do a Giannis accent. That's not what I'm doing. That's why this year has been kind of a cluster. On top of Giannis being hurt, when he's been out there, he's kind of been, And I won't say he's added to the drama, but he hasn't exactly killed it and snuffed it out until the trade deadline passes, and now he's like Mr. Milwaukee. So that would be my take on Giannis. Thank you, Brody. Thank you for listening in Elk Mound. All right, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hell yeah, man. We got 2 new callers on a Friday.
Pretty good, Vagabond John. Not too bad.
Brody and a Dan. Sports Talk Radio needs more Dan.
Dan in the La Crosse area.
Yeah, I like the vagueness as well. It's just like a cleaner version of a Dave. We need more Dans out there. So shout out Dan for calling.
Speaking of Dave from Monona the other morning, coining the nickname for Chris McIntosh, calling him Appleman. 10 out of 10. Sadly, another banger from Dave in Monona on a nickname.
Dave from Monona, I'll give him this. He does make Sports Talk Radio what it is. Like characters like Dave need to stay around. When they're gone, we're gonna wish they were back. Right? Kind of reminds me of Chuck, Charlie, the morning show guy. We miss that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Grant, I wanted to call today. I'm in a little bit of a panic mode, and I don't know if I trust all the rest of these clones to get this done. Right?
Okay.
A soldier has fallen. We are no longer jacking our Janickies. Right? Like this guy is out. Surgery on his wrist. Hopefully he's back. Dude seems like a tough son of a gun. So who knows? Don't rule him out for a return for the tournament. But you have Zach Kinzinger, you have Hayden Jones, and you have the forgotten 4-star, Jack Robinson, also a Minnesota guy. They're all like 6'3" to 6'6", 200 pounds. One of those guys needs to step in because, Grant, it's a little concerning to lose a guy who's played just as many minutes as Alexis Biliauskas.
Yeah.
And has taught Alexis Biliauskas, despite being much smaller, how to be a man in the paint. So if you didn't know, Jack Janicki was the top-rated defender on the Wisconsin Badgers per advanced metrics, and he's out with a wrist surgery. And Greg Gard's got a hole to fill. So we got to see if some of these young clones, or you get Austin Rapp and Biliauskas to step in and be a little bit more consistent on that defensive side. But, Grant, this could be big because this offense hasn't been consistent enough to overcome a big hole in the defense. What do you think?
So I'm with you on that. I wish Jack Janicki could have been like more of a contributor on offense. The thing that I didn't see coming this season is Jack Janicki kind of becoming a defensive specialist, and in a unique one. Like, he can guard up. Like, he can bow up and defend guys larger. He's not like a wing defender or someone who pesters a point guard. Like, he can actually kind of mix it up in the paint, not against, the Isaac Hosses and Zach Edey's of the world. That's not what I'm saying. But like, he's a decent rim paint defender. I did not see that coming. So losing Jack Janicki isn't going to hurt their offense too much. What I don't understand is, like, Austin Rapp, and maybe I'm misreading the situation. Does he have like Lyme's disease or something? Because I thought like a month ago he was sick. And now I still hear when I listen to Zach and Jesse or whoever, still, Austin Rapp, he's battling an illness. What illness? HIPAA, of course, but like, Jesus, what's going on with him? So you're right, Vagabond John. It felt like early on in the season, their rotation was massive, and then they buttoned it down a little bit. But really on a nightly basis, like if you go and look at the Illinois game, and let me pull it up here just for a sec, to my memory, and I could be misremembering, let's look at the Illinois game because that was kind of competitive throughout. There wasn't any garbage time. They're really only playing, they played seven and a half guys. That's it. They Biliauskas, Winter, Rhodey, Blackwell, Boyd. That was their starting five. And they played Rapp 31 minutes, so he played starters minutes. Carrington played 22 minutes, and the only other two guys who played were Garlock. He played 2 minutes, and Janicki played 9. And again, Janicki attempted 1 shot when he was out there. So he was out there basically as a defensive rotational guy. What felt like a massive rotation at the beginning of the year feels really small now, especially without Janicki. They're basically the 5 starters plus Rapp and Carrington. And Carrington feels like Kamari McGee, who's like a starter coming off the bench, basically. And I guess Rapp does too. Rapp feels very redundant for maybe some of the guys that they're playing. But Vagabond John is not wrong. This is a thin roster all of the sudden without Janicki. And it's not even like Janicki was playing heavy minutes, but you're really talking about 7 guys who play solid minutes, plus a sprinkling of this guy or that guy for foul trouble or for a defensive replacement. And that might be the weirdest, most surprising part of it, is Jack Janicki becoming a rotational defensive guy. Yeah, Evan Flood, and I missed this before the show started, out for this foreseeable future. I know he had a wrist injury, but he had surgery yesterday to repair a broken wrist. Unsure if he'll be back this season. Not the season that I expected or hoped for from Jack Janicki. When we come back, why don't we chat with Kurt Hogg? Joined me earlier to talk Brewers. You'll hear that conversation. We talked about his new show with Corey Knebel. We talked about Pat Murphy's messaging and some of the big picture things that are happening around baseball as well. That's coming up next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
With Pella, you get so much more than stunning windows and doors. You get the Pella experience. Pella manufactures, sells, installs, and services every product. And with a 10-year labor warranty, your windows and doors are worry-free for years to come. If something goes wrong, we're here to handle it because you work with the same team from start to finish.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 48 months.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. Had a conversation earlier today with Kurt Hogg, and I got to press play. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time. writes for the Journal Sentinel, and has got a new show, which we're going to talk about with Corey Knebel. We talk about Pat Murphy and some of the big picture things going on in baseball as well. Here's our conversation from earlier. Kurt Hogg is here. I love Kurt. He's one of my favorite guests because I ask so many people to do my show or Bill's show. And I'm asking favors, and I'm aware. And there's days where I ask Kurt to do it, and he's probably like, I got things going on. But then occasionally, Kurt, you will tell me, I miss talking Brewers with you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel less bad about asking you to come on the show. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's not helpful or conducive to my 2026 goals for my brand, which are to hate the fans and hate talk radio. But yeah, you know what? I'm a sucker. What can I say?
Have you reached a certain tenure as a beat writer where you need to change your brand a little bit? You need to step into maybe some of those, what is it, the BBWA? You need to step into some of these stereotypes? Okay.
Yeah, if I want to, move up into a leadership role or become more prominent with the ball head of America.
You have added a show of your own. You're broadcasting with Corey Knebel now. You have Brewer Territory, which is an offshoot of Foul Territory. They're starting team-specific pods. Am I understanding this correctly?
Correct.
Tell us about the show.
So, you kind of plugged it pretty well right there. We have a thrice weekly show. 3 times we record. It's shorter, 20 to 30 minutes, but it's Corey and I, and we're just talking Brewers, man. It's good conversation. We've got different perspectives. We can hit on a lot of different things. I love it because he has been there with Murph. He's been there with Yelich. He's been there with Woody, Matt Arnold, all these guys. Like it kind of feels like he was there a while ago, but really there's actually a lot of through lines with him and the Brewers. And obviously I'm up close with the team as well. So it's been fun, man. We're dropping a couple episodes or 3 episodes a week. We just had one come out yesterday. We'll record again in a couple days. Go ahead and like and subscribe, Grant. I'm like and subscribe guy now.
What's Corey good at? Because you interact with lots of players, former and current. Like what's a part of his perspective or the way that he talks about or thinks about the game that you find interesting and unique?
I think he's got a really good grasp on. Part of it is like the mental side of the game especially for pitchers. There's just, let's face it. I don't necessarily want a panel of 7 former players. Like I like different minds, different perspectives. But there's just things that he and other players know that I will never be able to understand. So between his experience with the Brewers and sort of those areas that he kind of honed in on as a player, I really like hearing his insight and his perspective.
Well, and he went through an injury too.
Yeah, multiple. Yeah.
The mental side where it's like I'm in shape. I know I can still do it. The question is whether I can get my body to hold up, and will my body allow me to keep doing it? And operating in that headspace as a professional athlete, who's a high level professional athlete, by the way, like top of his game at his peak. That's an interesting place to be. And operating in that space has to just be, again, unless you've done it, you can't really speak to it.
Corey also experienced a lot of things in his career. He was never the top prospect, but he worked his way up to being, one of the best relievers in baseball for a couple of year stretch, and then he got hurt. And then he kind of builds his way back, was very important for the Dodgers in 2021 in their playoff run. So he's seen and done a lot, saw and did a lot as a player. So, yeah, there's a lot of different learning experiences from his career. And I guess that's a lot of baseball players. It's never just a straightforward journey.
Brewer Territory is the podcast 3 times a week, so like and subscribe thrice weekly, spoken like a true scribe. I have 2 big picture things I want to hit with you, one Brewers and one baseball. We were texting about this the other night. So Pat Murphy, the Brewers put out that video, and it has us ready to run through a wall. It has me excited for baseball. He's getting the troops fired up. I have no complaints about Pat Murphy, who is just extended. I think he's interesting, he's entertaining, and he's done an awesome job. I have no complaints about him. My question about Murphy and the Brewers' approach, and it's really just messaging, it's optics, it is if or when they make the change from we're regular Joe's underdog, nobody believes in us team to we are the team that expects to win the division every year, and now it's time to try to actually take what should have been ours already. I bet they feel inside that building like it's high time we make a World Series. How do you tweak Like how do they make that slight branding messaging change without ruining the whole thing?
Right. It's important to note that you don't want to ruin the whole thing, because to your point about about Murph as a manager, the one thing you cannot deny about this team is they have their identity.
Mm-hmm.
They rally around a type of baseball and a mindset, and it works. It has been an ingredient in their success for the last couple of years, probably a little longer, but definitely the last couple of years under the manager Pat Murphy. But we talked about this on the show, and you and I were, as you mentioned, we're texting about this. That we talked about this on Brewer Territory. Was like, do you get to a point though where you're just like, you know what? Sure, you can call us the underdogs, but we're the baddest guys in this division.
We know better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't necessarily have any qualms with, accepting that underdog mentality. But at some point, do you just want to puff out your chest and like really embrace that this is our chance, this is our year, and it doesn't even have to be in like a go all in, blow it up sort of way, because guess what, the Brewers will probably have other years on the back end of this. 27 looks good, 28 looks good, but at a point, don't you just kind of want to like mentally turn the corner, I guess?
Yeah. It's just a messaging thing. I was trying to describe this on my show the other night. It's like, I'm not saying they should trade more prospects. I'm not saying they should do anything differently. I think they should continue to build the team and employ the same strategy that they have been, which is we're going to keep getting in. We're going to keep performing at a high level. And one of these years it's going to work. I just want the team and the manager to have the messaging that this is the year it's going to work. And it's not about surprising everyone. And it's not about proving anyone wrong. This is our year to break through. Now we're going to do it. And I just wonder if you can tweak that messaging without the entire house of cards crumbling down. Like Pat Murphy's thing of getting the first. Can you maintain that?
Right. That might need to come from within, not necessarily the manager.
It might need to be a player.
A player, perhaps. And the thing about the Brewers, right, is the guys that they bring in do not have big league experience. So mm-hmm. You don't have someone you don't even need a culture shifter, just someone who sort of morphs to the culture you have, fits it well, but then pushes it another step is kind of how I would view it in my mind. But also Corey did have some good, he had some good insight as someone who's been in on these sort of meetings that I thought was interesting, was saying like, the thing that you need to have happen is by the time you get to the playoffs, by the time you're playing the Dodgers, you need to have a group of guys on the field that have no fear, that aren't thinking about what they have to do, but they're thinking about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And, the Brewers got their butts kicked by the Dodgers last year, but I do think that is the group that they have for the most part. They have a bunch of guys who aren't thinking about what they're what I say what they have to do, but what they're gonna do. Like, oh, I have to steal a base. No, I'm going to steal a base. I'm going to get on base. So they don't. So you do have like the right mindset in that regard between the lines. But yeah, Grant, I just wonder when does it become, we are the team that's going to win the World Series? And you just start saying that word out loud a little more.
Yes. I think it would be nice to hear Mark say it out loud, because and what's frustrating is I'll defend Mark Attanasio a lot of the time. I'd like him to spend a little bit more. Duh. But I think the big part that they're building it this way is because they feel that this gives them a best chance to win a World Series. We'd rather have a bunch of knocks rather than one or two really loaded up runs at the thing. And I think a nice byproduct is, and Mark hinted at this last spring training, is that it gives fans a chance to have lots of competitive teams. I think he should have worded it better than he did. And I think Mark is probably still frustrated over that. I'd like to hear him say, we're doing this because we think this is how we win a World Series. That's our goal. That's what we're doing here.
Right. But you can't, as an owner, if you start saying, we're doing the things we're doing to win a World Series, and then it's you saying that after an offseason where your biggest external free agent was Luis Rengifo.
Sure.
That ain't going to sit well. So you just don't say it. Sure. I think the best thing you can say about, look, Brewers ownership whether you like them or hate them, and a lot of people are going to fall in the second category. Maybe what you have to admit, though, is like one thing that they've done well is get out of the way.
Yeah.
A lot of teams' ownership groups are a detriment, and at the very least, the Brewers front office is operating in the way they want to operate. And Mark is not saying we can't trade Caleb Durbin.
Yeah.
He's explaining to Bud Selig why they traded Caleb Durbin. So
what a wild soundbite.
Whether you like that trade or not, like clearly the process has had some success, and they're kind of just doing their thing. And ownership is more so than other teams, I would say, staying out of the way.
Yeah. I like how you were kind of walking this path, and you maybe took a left or a right turn. But what I was laughing at as you said that, it's like, so maybe the Brewers ownership isn't helping as much as you'd like, but at least at the very worst, they're neutral. They're not harming, which I think you're absolutely right. A lot of owners do.
That's a comment on ownership in professional sports in general, right? Like, how many fans of the four major sports, four major pro sports in America, how many of them like love their owners? The Green Bay Packers, maybe.
Yeah.
You're an owner, Grant. I love having you as an owner.
Thank you.
So
it's wild. I'm getting my ownership mocked on Twitter this week of all weeks when the Bears are on the doorstep of moving to Indiana.
Guess what? The Packers ain't moving to Kenosha or Racine.
No,
we don't really have a good comparison, apples to apples, to the greater Gary metro area.
Greater Chicagoland. Kurt Hogg is your Journal Sentinel. Do we?
No.
I don't think so.
Someone might say like Cudahy, but I'm going to put some respect on Cudahy's name.
I mean, that would fit the industrial.
Yeah.
I guess it would fit that part. So I'm going to pause this there. There's about 5 minutes left. And I'm going to save that for the second hour because we're going to run out of time. I asked Kurt about the economics of baseball. I don't need to get into the weeds about an impending lockout in February when we have a full season to go before a potential lockout could happen. But I did just ask him a bigger picture question or two about, his point of view on the state of the game. How's it doing? Fan perception, ratings, money coming in versus the way that money is being paid out by teams differently, depending on market size, depending on owners. And first of all, we're not going to be able to get it in this hour anyway, so I'm going to pause it there. We'll come back to that later. I want to get back to your phone calls, as it is a Free Phones Friday, so we'll get back to that after 5 o'clock. We got to take one more break this hour, and then I'll give you a couple of extended Brewers thoughts before we reset for Zach's update.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, a couple minutes here. We'll reset at 5. We'll get Zach's update, and we can reset hour number 2 with any of your phone calls, as it's a Free Phones Friday, so whatever you want to talk about. We could do Packers. We could do Badgers. If you have U.S. hockey thoughts, they beat the balls off of Slovakia today, so they're going to play Canada Sunday morning in the gold medal match. Canada survived by the skin of their teeth again today over the Finns. Finland was up 2-0, and Canada, with their great level of talent and shot-making ability, stormed back. God, the go-ahead goal was a friggin' rip, too. A couple of texts here to fill the next couple of minutes. Dave from Rona says, hey, Grant, good afternoon. I think we should propose a Grant Bills and Bill Michaels throwdown with the 2 new guys that are on 2 to 4 slots, since they're Chicago Bears fans. I'd pay to watch that. I know you guys would kick their asses. Have a great day. 2 to 4 on this show? On this station? I don't know to who you are referring. Not a big fan of the radio rivalry thing. Like, oh, it's Packers Bears week. Well, the Wisconsin guys will go on the Chicago show. You guys come on. Appreciate listening, though, Dave. Thank you. I don't know who you're talking about. Jim in Cottage Grove says, you didn't get anything out of Craig Counsell's No, I did not. And again, that Pat Murphy cut, which you'll hear in the intro when we restart the show back for hour number 2, more thoughtful than anything I've ever heard Craig Counsell say. This text from Chris in Trempolo says, Grant, I wasn't quite sure I was on board with what you were saying yesterday about the Brewers, but after listening today, I think what needs to happen is the Brewers need to either get someone that comes in and says, I'm coming here to win a championship, or get a player to sign and say, I'm re-signing here to win a championship. Chris from Trempolo. I don't even know that it has to be anyone new. I think it could be someone who's been there. I think Sal Frelick would be a great guy to kind of spearhead that. You know, if you needed someone, a current player who's there already, to draw a line in the sand and say, all right, this is the year, or this is high time that we go from being, you know, the average Joes, underdogs, overperformers, to a team that's just good, and we've been good, and now it's time that we take another step. I think Sal Frelick would be a great guy for that. I think Terang, although I don't find Terang to be, very dynamic. I think he's very underrated among Brewers fans. I think he's sneaky and awesome player, but not exactly box office with a microphone. Maybe he's different in the clubhouse, but I'd look at Sal Frelick. Yelich, you know, I think Yelich plays a leadership role. I don't know if he could be that guy. I think Sal Contreras, maybe another idea. We can kick this around as we begin hour number 2. Jim in Cottage Grove says, son of a B, Grant, I got to fake it again. Did I spoil the hockey game for you? It's not close, Jim. It's not going to be, you'll tell early that it's done, that it's cooked. So sorry though, to spoil. It's a sports show though. What do you want me to do? Hour number 2 coming up right after Zach's update.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Pat Murphy going to be sticking around with the Brewers for a while. That's after the team announced a multi-year extension for the 67-year-old this morning. Murphy's led the Brewers to back-to-back NL Central titles, been named NL Manager of the Year in both seasons, just the 4th manager to ever win the award in consecutive years. Judging the importance of a manager analytically, baseball not easy, but Christian Yelich says it absolutely does matter.
Well, I think manager, right, is what the name is. You're managing people. You're managing personalities. You have things that you have to help navigate throughout the season. You have to try to get the best out of guys, motivate guys, get everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think he does a really good job, doing that.
Milwaukee finished up the first week of spring training down in Arizona. Can open Cactus League play tomorrow against Cleveland. Turning to the Packers, they have started interviews for their vacant special teams coordinator spot. The interviews so far include former Patriots special teams coach Cameron Ackgord and current Saints assistant special teams coach Kyle Wilbur. Green Bay looking to fill the void left by Rich Bisaccia after he stepped down earlier this week.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, Wisconsin hit the practice floor today as they get ready for a visit from Iowa coming up on Sunday with just 5 games left in the regular season. Badgers 10-5 in Big Ten play, sitting in 6th place. The Hawkeyes 1 game back of them. And the Bucs going to begin the second half of their season tonight down in New Orleans against the Pelicans. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
It's just the relationships for sure. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't even remember some of the games, you know what I mean? Like some stand out, but it's not that. It's the relationships. The best part of the job is seeing guys believe in themselves. You know, when you see a young player come up and now know that they belong and know that not only they belong and, hey, I'm really good at this. And they've built like a habitual way of getting better. God, that's just a great feeling, man. So, you know, and having my family around at the same time, my kids get to be around it. Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. We love having him around. And, I know this was his last one that he had, so it's good that he'll be here for this year, at least a couple more, and hopefully in the future.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
All right, hour number 2. It's a Fish Fry Friday. It's a Fins Up Friday. And most importantly, it's a Free Phones Friday. Call me with whatever. We can bounce around from thing to thing. Anything you want to discuss, we can hit. The topic can be set by your phone calls. It's 608-321-1670. Let's go right to it. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Brad, it's Corey out of Marshall. How you doing?
Corey, it's been too darn long. And I expected to possibly see you at Thorson and Heilprin last night, and I didn't. What's new?
Well, I've been fighting the bioweapon, so I don't want to get you guys sick because you need your voices for your job.
It's appreciated.
I'm here for you guys.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Fish Fry Friday. I'm about ready to head out myself and pick up the bluegill that I ordered.
Where are you going?
Just a little bar that's local to us. It's well known for their pizza as well, but they got good fish fry there. So looking forward to some bluegill. Yeah. But so free topic. So a couple things for you. It says you're going to be heading down to Indiana next week for the combine, and you and Bill were chatting about the Bears. So this is kind of a long thing. So just bear with me. So you guys are chatting about the Bears relocating to Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're a maven of the maps and also the Great Lakes ships, right?
Yes.
Like you're a ship kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
As am I. Tankers, they're pretty neat to look at.
Amen.
So on the bright side, if they move to Hammond, Indiana, you guys got to go down there to cover them. You know what they got right next door there, the Indiana Harbor. And you know what comes in there quite a bit?
Oh, all the big boys.
Iron ore ships.
Bang.
Because there's like 2 gigantic steel plants. If you're curious, the map thing is what I was saying is like you look at Google Maps, you can see the rust from like all the iron ore. That's probably just the dust that's floated over these steel mills.
Yep.
And there's a big BP refinery, so you can get a little bit of like aromaticity going. You can feel like you're a little bit like tripping kind of when you're going out to watch these ships. So it'll have everything there in Hammond for the casual fan.
This sounds like my kind of. I do understand the hesitancy of Bears fans. It's like, so we're going to put the stadium in between the port and the refinery. You know what I mean? Like a lot of Chicago media arms have been down there at the site over the last 24 hours, posting clips and stuff. And it's like, it smells like gas. It's like,
Oh, that's why there's a big refinery there. And guess what they do there at refineries? they crack a lot of stuff off to the old petroleum distillate. So,
okay,
touching on that and going to the combine,
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll actually be treated. It's unfortunate because they don't really start doing a lot of the workouts till like later next week. I kind of get a little bit of the tism when it goes to the combine because I like watching like some of these players that came out of the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not just like the workouts, but you can kind of hear like when I listen to NFL Network, like Pat Kerwin, these guys that kind of know way more than I had ever know. But they'll mention like certain guys on the Senior Bowl, and you'll hear like the interviews with them during the week.
Yep.
And it's actually quite, it's interesting to watch like then how they perform. And you can kind of see like from like the defensive perspective at least, and kind of compare it in my own mind. This is kind of going all over the place, but like think about like Clay Matthews when he had the combine. You're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
he had a really fast like 10-yard split. Blah blah blah. Some of these ones are like more arcane, like measurements and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat to kind of see like in quick hips, like they always talk about the quick hips with the guys at the cornerback that can flip their hips and go and run. So I don't know what you guys will all be good to look to see down there, but going with a bit of an open mind. It's kind of like a little bit like it's probably the footballer thing type deal. Like Ted Thompson, like he lived for this moment of the year. R.I.P. to the Silver Fox.
No kidding.
And Goody probably the same way. I'll be curious to see what he actually says next Tuesday when he's down there. If they have a special teams person by then, or if we'll ever hear from LaFleur at all as well this offseason. But anyways, enough Packers chatter. Looking forward to the Brewers starting this weekend. Let's move on to another season here. It's going to be, I think it'll be more exciting than we think initially.
The Brewers?
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
I think so. I think it'll probably feel like an extension of last year, Corey. I appreciate it with the brand of baseball and a lot of the things that they're doing, except this year they're going to have, a healthy starting pitcher to begin the year, which is what they were lacking last year. And we can talk about the Brewers. We'll get back to that in due time. But now I'm reading about the Indiana Harbor and Ship Canal, which is in East Chicago, which is in Indiana, which is just in between Hammond and the lake. I'm reading a little bit about this. Connects the Grand Calumet River to Lake Michigan, consists of two branch canals, the Lake George branch and the Grand Calumet River branch, which join to form the main Indiana Harbor Canal. The canal also functions as a harbor. The outer harbor is sheltered by two bulkheads marked by lights, including the Indiana Harbor East Breakwater Light. Oh, the light has a name and its own link. I'm just going to pop open that Wikipedia page for later. That's just for me, not for you. Ships enter the outer harbor from the north. The inner harbor consists of the canal itself. The entrance to the outer harbor lies near the Indiana Shoals, which extend up to 5 miles offshore, where water depths are as shallow as 15 feet. So I actually defended the Bears a little bit yesterday, and I didn't defend the Bears in a vacuum. I defended the Bears against the NFL elitists who feel like it's okay to make fun of the Midwestern team for moving across a simple state line, but we're going to ignore the fact that the Niners stadium is 60 miles south of San Francisco, or the Giants and the Jets play across one state line in a suburb of New Jersey, right? Like, I want it to be fair. And as I was working out this morning, shout out to me, I went to the gym. I was listening to Flyover States by Jason Aldean, and I find a lot of common ground with my fellow Midwesterners, Midwest stock. So when I see the Albert Breers or the Mike Silvers of the world dumping on the Bears for moving 10 miles to the east and saying that it's stupid, it's like, well, wait a minute. We'll do the Niners then. Or do the Jets. Do the Giants. Do the Chargers, although that team moved. But still, do those teams. Like the Bears, like it's basically Chicago. In fact, the Bears, the proposed stadium site for this stadium site, the one that's proposed in Indiana, is closer to Chicago than the town called East Chicago. It's in between Chicago and East Chicago. Like it's getting more Chicago than that. So part of me will defend the Bears, and part of me thinks this isn't that big of a deal. Now, crossing a state line that's moral gray ground, and you can feel however you want about that. What I will firmly and totally agree with Bears fans that don't want this to happen. I'll back you in that they're moving to kind of an S-hole if this is where they go. Like the refinery's right there. So at least with Santa Clara, and I'm going to look up pictures of Levi's Stadium, but I'm going to save the Wikipedia of the Indiana Harbor East Breakwater Light because I'm going to scratch an itch later with that. But Levi's Stadium, how far away is that from the water? Just out of curiosity. That's actually rather well. It's near the bay, but not near the coast, if that makes sense. And so it's near the water-ish. You can have those nice, aerial shots. It's pretty. It's scenic. The Bears' current spot on the lakeshore of Chicago is pretty. You have the skyline. They move it down here. You zoom out. It's Sunday Night Football. Here's an aerial shot presented by Progressive. There's the refinery. There's the harbor. And I am all for commerce. There is no bigger defender in the state of Wisconsin than the city of Superior than I. Probably more so than the people that live in Superior. And it makes me sick every time that we reference the Northwoods of Wisconsin, or we're talking about 53, or we're talking about the North Shore of Minnesota, or the South Shore of Wisconsin. Anytime that comes up, which if you're listening to the show and you haven't been listening for, like, Grant, when does that actually come up? You'd be surprised. It comes up a good amount. I will always defend Superior. And I'll say, you babies, Superior's gross. Superior's disgusting. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Do you not want electricity? Do you not want steel to build your buildings, Milwaukee resident? Well, Milwaukee's probably a bad example because they have a port over there. But you get what I'm saying. Like, grow up, Peter Pan. The world is driven by big boats that carry stuff all over the world. That's how it works. So I will never criticize a city on the Great Lakes or on the ocean that's built around commerce, gas refineries, ports, harbors, or docks. That's not me. I'll always go to bat for those places. However, I don't know that we need to be building football stadiums next to them. Like, I would draw the line in my Superior support if someone was like, I think we should relocate the Packers and we should put them on the lakefront in Superior. I'd be like, well, here's the thing. Maybe we don't need to do that. We should move the state's capital up there. Or like we should move government buildings. That was my favorite part of, what was that cat's name? Josh Schumann, who wanted to move all the federal buildings, Marathon County. Love that guy. Just for his love of Marathon County and how he always talked about it. Like, we don't need to be moving important buildings and important landmarks next to gas refineries or iron ore ports. We don't need that. So I'm just looking at these pictures of Hammond, Indiana. Like, I don't think it's a big deal if the Bears go across state lines. Like, it's a different state, but you got people, like, I was talking with our friend Bart Winkler last night. He's like, if the Bears go across the state, the rivalries, it'll never be the same. Like, it'll be exactly the same. Like, everyone can grow up a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. To me, it's more about the locale. Ew. And it smells like gas. Which I don't know if that smells better or worse than the paper plants of, interestingly enough, Marathon County. We've gone full circle. Those things stink. Those things stink in a way where it's like, okay, it smells a little, or the way that like City Brewery smells in La Crosse. I actually like that smell. I came to like it. It's kind of sweet, a little stinky, but kind of sweet. To me, that smells like commerce. A gas refinery smells like reproductive diseases, let's say. You don't need to put a football stadium there. So, again, if the Bears want to move, I don't really think that's big of a deal. I would move somewhere not there, though. Does that make sense? That wouldn't be my thing. Bobby in Menominee. This is gold medal game at 7 a.m. while the rest were at 2 p.m. is stupid. Drinking at 7 a.m. is tougher when you're not on a boat. I was arguing with some friends in a group chat about this earlier today. I would assume that they're playing the gold medal hockey final on Sunday instead of Saturday, so both the United States and Canada can get a full day's rest. And that I understand. However, would it have been that hard to line it up so they could have played the final on Saturday? And I'm not even trying to be like early 2000s Lance Armstrong, America-centric, like rescheduled the time so it's convenient for us. The Olympics are in Milan or Cortina or wherever. They're over there. They're in Italy. So it should be their time zone. But, like, can you make it at a time? Like, if you're on the West Coast, you want to watch this, it's at 5 a.m. 6 a.m. Yeah. 7 a.m. local, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Well, Grant, when has West Coast ever cared about hockey? I don't know. Maybe they're not hockey fans, but they're patriots. They want to watch the Olympics. That's different than saying, I want to watch Bruins Rangers on Sunday night hockey, whatever, on ESPN. Like, this is different than the Olympics. It wouldn't have been that hard to get this thing lined up so you play the final on a Saturday night in Italy, which is perfect. That's prime time for them. And then it's broadcast here at the same time that all the games have been broadcast, at 2. So we'd be used to it. It would make sense for us. The earliest the game would be for anybody on the West Coast is 11, which is like football time. And on a Saturday, that's doable, especially because, like, sorry, them's the breaks. You live on the West Coast, and the friggin' thing is in Italy. Like, where there's no world in which you're going to get it at 7 p.m. in prime time. So, yes, I agree. I'm not opposed to watching sports first thing in the morning. Like, it's not the end of the world. But 7 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Mountain, 5 a.m. Pacific, when you could have just done the thing on a Saturday with a little bit more planning. I'm not going to act like it's the end of the world, but it's United States, Canada, and it is going to feel like it lacks a little luster. Just a bit. I mean, what time is it going to be in Alberta in this game? Well, Grant, the West Coast doesn't care about hockey. Okay, well, what about Canada? Those folks care quite a bit. They're in the final. What about the folks in Saskatchewan and Alberta? They're going to have to bang the snow off the antenna at 6 a.m. It's just, to me, it's needless. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to spend an hour whining about this. But it just seemed easily played apart. And I believe that the game is being played earlier in the day in Italy. Like, I don't know what time it would be there because the closing ceremonies are Sunday night, right? Like, the thing ends Sunday night. So they're doing it around lunchtime or middle of the day. So it's before the closing ceremonies. But again, if you just shifted everything one day back, you could have got these teams the day of rest before the gold medal game. You could have played it on Saturday night, which would have put it Saturday afternoon here, which would have drawn up the largest number possible, which is what, like, the NHL should have been interested in. It's like, if we're going to send our players over there, you need to throw us a bone and make sure that we're not watching a gold medal final in our West Coast markets at 5 a.m. Because whether or not Gary Bettman believes the West Coast cares about hockey, you could maybe pick up a couple of fans if you did the gold medal game at a different time other than 5 a.m. That's all I'm saying. Bobby in Menominee follows up. He says they're playing at 2 p.m. local time in Italy. The premier sport should be prime time for them. Yes, 7 p.m. local would be noon for us, which makes a hell of a lot more sense. Absolutely. Played in prime time over there. We get it in the afternoon, as all of these games have been, on Saturday. And I understand the day of rest is good, but then just use a little foresight, just a bit, especially when this is probably one of the more viewed events of the Olympics. I don't know, but I would just guess. Other than curling, of course, which is an absolute juggernaut. Let's take a 3-minute break. Your phone calls after this. Free Phones Friday. Call in whatever you want. 608-321-1670. A little bit more from Kurt Hogg at the bottom of this hour. I'll mix in a Packers thought or two, but I want to take your phone calls after this.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
With Pella, you get so much more than stunning windows and doors. You get the Pella experience. Pella manufactures, sells, installs, and services every product. And with a 10-year labor warranty, your windows and doors are worry-free for years to come. If something goes wrong, we're here to handle it because you work with the same team from start to finish.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 48 months.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show continues. My name is Grant. Trust me, I'm excited about it. I don't know if that projected. Wisco Sports Show continues. My name is Grant Bills. Happy Friday. It's a Fins Up Friday. It's a Fish Fry Friday. And it's a Free Phones Friday. Call me on whatever you want. Your phone calls can set the topics. I got 5 or 6 more minutes with Kurt Hogg that I'll play you at the bottom of the hour. Big picture talking about the state of baseball. I don't want to waste that much time in February of 26 talking about a lockout that could occur in 27. We'll have plenty of time to get there. But I did ask Kurt just a couple minutes, state of the game, big picture, and we didn't have time to get that in the first hour, so I'll get that to you coming up in a bit. But first, some of your phone calls. Got a bunch of wide open phone lines if you want to jump in. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Ridge Runner Mark, how we doing, sir?
Good evening, Ridge Runner. I am well.
Good. I did 2 things. First thing is, I agree with you wholeheartedly. A lockout does nothing for anybody and will only hurt. It's kind of silly to think that that is a viable solution.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, totally off that subject, I thought of something that would have been hilarious for you to do at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, but naturally I couldn't tell you because I couldn't call in and didn't think to text because you shouldn't text and drive.
That's fair. That's very smart.
There is a radio host on the morning show of one of your competitors, the 4-letter word, or however you want to put it, by the name of Michelle Smallman.
Yep.
Who has recently become a diehard Packer fan.
Okay.
And I think it would have been cool if you could try to lure her onto your show to kind of go over, well, this is what you should do as a Packer fan, or however that would play out. That I think that might play well on the radio.
And an owner. I could show her the ropes as an owner. I'm not sure if here's the thing. Here's where this is tricky. Is I don't know if I'm allowed to have a competitor, and I don't know if she's allowed to come on a competitor. You know what I mean? Because we're all
conflict of interest. I get that.
Yeah, it's all rather silly. I also feel like it wasn't the other guy on that show, Evan Cohen, wasn't he making a stink this last week or so about how disappointed he is with Jordan Love's development and performance?
Yeah, but that's half the country, I guess, because they all assume that, well, if the Packers drafted him, well, he must be as good as Aaron Rodgers, and if he's not doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers is doing at this time in the career, he's a failure, which is so black and white and silly.
I don't understand. He was an MVP candidate going into the final month of the year, and then he got hurt, and then when he came back in the playoffs, he threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I guess I don't know what people want. You know what I mean?
Expectations are out of line.
I find myself, Ridge Runner. I'm sorry. Let's keep talking about this if you have a minute. Yeah, I find myself as I get older confused by the industry in which I participate. Like, I remember the Monday after the championship games, after Seattle beat the Rams, walking into the gym. Again, shout out to me. I was working out. And the television had ESPN on, and the bottom ticker said, "Has Sam Darnold done enough to silence the doubters or silence the haters?" And what does that mean? He's in the Super Bowl. So if you are doubting or hating, doesn't that say more about you as a doubter or a hater? I just, sometimes I don't understand what these people want.
Well, I think part of the problem is that it's not about actually reporting the news or coming up with content. It's about how can we rile people up? How can we create a big statement that is going to cause the most amount of back and forth? You know, the first takes of the world, that is become what is supposed to happen as opposed to just discussion, as opposed to Seahawks steamrolled to the Super Bowl and this, that, and Sam Darnold did this, and just lay out the facts and no, we've got to do how can we be controversial to get more people to watch? And that's kind of the sad state of it. In certain cases, you don't really hear the good stuff. Like, and to your point, Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, and they lost. But nope, we got to talk about how they've continued to fail and how, Jordan Love isn't living up to expectations because the expectations are unreasonable because we've been spoiled for 30 years with really good quarterbacks, and he doesn't pass that eyeball test. But he's neither of those quarterbacks. He's his own quarterback. We need to let him grow into that.
Yeah.
And maybe it takes shorter. Maybe he's going to rattle off 3 Super Bowl wins in a row. We don't know, but we keep trying to predict it and get ourselves hyped up for that prediction. And when the prediction doesn't match, all of a sudden you have this incredible drop in everyone's expectations, and all of a sudden it's a complete and utter failure.
So, correct. I understand that, Ridge Runner, have a great weekend. I understand there's a need to rile people up. It's just, it's not that hard to rile people up. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, it doesn't rile me up. I mean, maybe I'm being riled up as we speak. You know what I mean? Like, I've been rewatching Thrones when Tywin Lannister says, "You are being counseled at this very moment." Maybe I'm being riled up and I don't even realize it. I just, talking about how you're unhappy with Jordan Love's development and how he played this year. It's like, well, I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can have that point of view. Like, I don't think of you as a content creator. I don't think of you as an engagement merchant. I don't think of you as a hot take artist. I think of you as a dumbass, because that's not, what you're selling isn't even good. Like, sell good snake oil. Like, find a way to dump on Craig Counsell that you haven't found yet. I mean, there's a lot of pages in that book that we're still turning. I don't. Well, you got to say something for clicks. It's like, no, I actually don't think that's it. The older I get, the more I realize that most people are just stupid. Have any of you had this experience? Like, as you get older, you just realize, you know what? Most of the people who I thought were pretty smart and they had something going on, as I get older, I just realize most people are idiots. Like, I don't think a lot of these sports takes are, well, you know what they're doing. They're pushing fans' buttons. Like, no, there's a way to do that and stay within reality. It's not that hard to rage bait people. Like, you don't need to say ridiculous things. You just need to say the right things. Complaining about Jordan Love's season. It's like, dude, he was one of the best quarterbacks in football this year. I don't think he's perfect. And maybe that's more commentary on the quarterback position in 2026 and how it was played. Like, Joe Burrow was hurt. Patrick Mahomes wasn't as good. Josh Allen was good, but not on a team that was capable of winning 14 games. Drake May was good, but against a soft schedule. Matthew Stafford was the MVP, so he's great, but who else in the NFC? Like, Dak was great for stretches, but again, the team not that great. Jalen Hurts was donkey-doo. Jaden Daniels was hurt. So I don't know. Like, that was a real watershed moment for me walking into the Princeton Club the Monday after the NFC and AFC championship games, and the bottom chyron on ESPN says, has Sam Darnold done enough to silence the doubters? When I saw that, it's like, I think we are sheep being led around by idiots. Vagabond John says, Joe Barry led a top 10 scoring defense without Parsons or McKinney. See? That's just a fact. We're not making up anything stupid. That's how you rage bait people. You don't need to make anything up to rage bait people. Just be better. Just be better. Let's hear a little bit from Kurt Hogg. We can go back to baseball after this break. I'll share a Badgers thought as well, an update on Austin Rapp from Greg Gard, who spoke with the media just within the last hour, and also more of your phone calls if you have anything to add at 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. Going to take a call here. We're going to hear a little bit more from Kurt Hogg. I'm not going to do that type of radio where did you hear about the man that stole the ambulance? But I was reading about the man in Wisconsin Rapids who stole the ambulance. Did you guys see this story? I'll just read you the lead from WLUK. A man admitted to drinking about half a bottle of floor cleaner before being naked in public, stealing an ambulance with a patient inside, and leading the police on an 18-mile chase, prosecutors say. I got to tell you, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Marathon County, you are rocketing up my county big board. Rocketing up. I don't know how far, but you're rocketing. Gaining a lot of momentum very quickly. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Todd in Green Bay.
Todd in Green Bay. What's going on, Todd?
Well, I wasn't going to call, but they brought up the love topic, so I'm here. And, I'm old enough to remember Bart Starr taking a snap, okay? I got to see Roger Staubach win games, pull him out of his butt with 2 minutes to go. I watched a lot of football.
Real field general types.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Leaders of men, yeah.
Yeah, perfect, Grant. Yeah, exactly. Great analogy. And or great point. But basically, I've been watching the highlights of this Ty Lights 10. He puts out all these highlights of Jordan Love and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love Malik Willis. He's a great scrambler. He can run. He can throw a great ball too, but so can Jordan Love. He throws rockets. He throws darts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't win a Super Bowl with Jordan Love, who could you win it with? I mean, he throws unbelievable down and outs from the other hash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just strong spirals, So people say, oh, he's inaccurate. All those things that people went against Jordan Love were just wrong. Okay. You can't throw on the run. You can't throw. They show highlights where he's escaping pressure and throwing on the run right on the money. So Jordan Love has done all that, and it has been doing all that and did it this year. So the people that call in, like you say, that they're against Jordan Love, my God, if you can't win a Super Bowl with Jordan Love, a tall guy that can throw over the line, that's my knock on Malik. I just think he's going to have problems throwing over the line, just like the Bear quarterback. He has to run all over the place to get passing lanes.
Sure.
And my other point is Aaron Rodgers, people are glorifying him. I am a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm a big traditionalist. I'm glad that the Packers caught up to the Bears and wins. And Rodgers was a big part of that. Yeah. So I am so appreciative of that. I'm not knocking Rodgers that way, but Rodgers went a few years there, the last 5-6 years, where he refused to throw to a tight end. He just refused because he was throwing to 17 all the time. And then he went to Pittsburgh, and they didn't have any wide receivers, and their offense coordinator at Pittsburgh said, you got to throw a tight end. So Rodgers feasted on tight ends there. And then in the playoffs here, Rodgers they said they really criticized him. He had 3 fade passes in the end zone. Terry Bradshaw was all over him. And they were just terrible throws, terrible plays, vanilla play calls. And that was Aaron Rodgers, the MVP. The people think he's God. Oh, and then my last take is that Aaron Rodgers is throwing it out of bounds for the last 5-6 years with the Packers, throwing it out one play of the game, throwing it way out of bounds, wasting a whole play. Oh, I got another take. Where does Love get throwing it third and 6, and we're throwing vertical passes for 20 yards, and they've been connecting on them. But Aaron Rodgers used to do that too, and they didn't, So a lot of this is coaching. It's
stop right there, Todd. Can I ask you a follow-up? Because I think your answer might be what you were about to say next. So go back to Jordan Love. Forget Aaron Rodgers. Because I see people like Bukowski talk about this a lot. We're like, look at the numbers, the DVOA, the efficiency. The Packers, by all big picture measures, had a an elite offense this year, and Jordan Love had an elite year. I think he had a great year. Why is it that they only won 9 games? And the defense and the special teams played a part in that, but there were clear games where the offense would get stuck, or there were situations where the offense would get stuck. And if Jordan Love was having such a great year, and I think he was, and Matt LaFleur was such a good play call, like why did it not show up in those moments that mattered and they're winning 9 games instead of 12 or 13?
Yeah, I would say the knock is that I would have to say our coaching staff has failed the Packers. We have a very talented team, but even if the coaching staff failed on defense, it failed on offense. We have great quarters, but then we have 2 quarters that are terrible. And, I have a picture of the Cleveland game where Love got sacked big time, and they had 3 receivers going vertical, and they didn't turn around for like 20 yards down. And what was Love to do? He had no one to throw it to. So they called a play there that put Love in terrible position. So we lost to Cleveland. So I have to put it on the coaching staff, special teams. 87 is great. He's even the receiver. He's caught so many great balls. I hate to get rid of him, but he probably wasn't the guy physically to put out there to catch. So that's coaching, I think, to catch a onside kick. And the defense played vanilla a lot of times.
Well,
so I have to
punts and onside kicks are different. Todd, you have a great weekend. It's just I got to add in a couple things of my own here. I appreciate the call. So putting Romeo Doubs back for a punt and an onside kick, those are 2 different things. The reason they put him back for the punts is because they just decided we just want someone to catch it. Like, we don't care about returns, which is clear because they don't roster a returner. The onside kick, man, is a bummer because I feel like he was the guy to have in that spot, and he just biffed it. So I don't lose a whole lot of sleep over that decision. I lose a little sleep over Romeo Doubs not pulling it in. But, that's a separate thing. That's a secondary thing. I'm with you that I think that the team's lack of detail and lack of execution in big spots that cost them games starts with coaching. I'm with you. There are specific moments that I can point to and call to where I'm like, I would have loved Jordan Love to be a little bit better in that spot. Like overtime against Dallas, they let all that clock run off. Now, we don't know how Jordan Love is being coached, but assuming they were trying to win there, that was my take about the Cowboys game in overtime. You go back, check the tape. I mean, don't waste your time. Just believe me. I wouldn't lie about something this dumb. I'm not afraid of I tell you if I'm wrong. My take after that Cowboys game was, I think they were trying to win. They just were bad at it. I think Matt LaFleur was trying to drive that offense down and coach that offense down. I don't think they were trying to run the clock out and kick a field goal to tie. Although, thank God they did. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. God, what a disappointing season. I think they were trying to, and they sucked at it. They were bad at it. Jordan Love in the 2-minute this year was really disappointing. Just a lack of urgency, a lack of command. And what's a bummer is, at the end of that Bears game in the playoffs, had Jaden Reed just caught that ball, like they might have won that game. What an awesome moment that would have been. And I think a little bit of a bugaboo beaten for Jordan Love, who was so poor in a lot of 2-minute situations this year. And again, the team and Matt LaFleur takes blame in that as well, but I just can't completely let the quarterback off the hook in that. Like, he's the man at the controls. Or on 4th and 1 against the Eagles when they're yelling inside zone right here. It's like, okay, Jordan, you're the guy at the line of scrimmage, man. Like, maybe at that point, maybe you do a little something different. We're going to do a hard change up here because I want to save our final segment for a couple of different things. Here's the last 5 minutes with Kurt Hogg, and this is going to be a little choppy because I got to jump in the middle of this interview here. But I'm going to press play. I'm going to pause. I'm going to go to about 5 minutes left here. So this is Kurt and I talking about big picture in baseball, big picture moving forward because, I mean, their head of the union just quit completely or was, I guess, had to resign in disgrace because he was porking his sister-in-law or whatever. So here's about the final 5 minutes. Again, this is going to sound a little clunky because I got to rejoin the interview that I had paused previously, but here's Kurt Hogg, Journal. Do we?
No.
I don't think so.
Someone might say like Cudahy, but I'm going to put some respect on Cudahy's name.
I mean, that would fit the industrial.
Yeah.
I guess it would fit that part. So read Kurt at the Journal Sentinel and watch and listen to Brewers Territory. Can you give me 2 or 3 minutes on the state of baseball? Just because Tony Clark stepped down. This is what interests me. I think the game, the product, is as good as it's felt in forever. Like, it feels like it's in such a great place. People are entertained. People are watching the playoffs. People are on fire for baseball. The economics maybe have never felt worse. The haves and have-nots, and also free agency. Like, there's 2-3 guys maybe in an offseason who get massive deals, and then everyone else takes pillow deals. Like, free agency is broken. That's not working the way that it should. So how do we rectify those 2 things? You hate a lockout because it feels like the sport has a ton of momentum. The rule change has been great. The World Series has been great. but also the economics feel like the complete other end. Like that hasn't been as bad. Like it just feels like those two parts of the game are so far apart. How do we rectify that?
Boy, oh boy, that is not just $1 million question, Grant. That's like billions of dollars for this league that they're sorting through. I do, like you mentioned, the economics, and yeah, I mean, we've got teams operating on opposite ends of the spectrum, and I'm not sure like the revenue disparities do get enough attention, even though, you know, the Brewers and the Pirates and teams like that are heavy recipients of other teams' revenues through revenue sharing. But like the economics of the sport are pretty dang good. I mean, the owners are, baseball's in a great spot. Product is great. Your big like ultimately this matters for the capital B baseball. Your big markets are good and interesting, and you've got great star power like you have not had in a long time. And these teams are just raking in cash, and so that's kind of where I ultimately fall back on this. Is like, really, what are you're willing to give this up? Are you willing to give this up for a salary cap?
No.
And I also fall in Brewer centric. Like, how much benefit is there for the Brewers to a salary cap?
I'm not sure that. Here's the thing. Fans will say, will you give up a year of baseball to fix it? And my answer always is, well, maybe, but describe what the fix is, because I don't think it's going to be this magical fix that everyone's imagining. I think the most likely thing is we miss a year of baseball and it still comes out the other side. Like the Brewers still feel like you're still going to find a way for it to be an equal.
So you're right. Like the thing that players are going to want in this is get paid earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And you can argue the pros and cons of that for sure. There's definitely a lot of pros from a player perspective.
For the players, yeah.
For the players. But guess what the Brewers need?
Mm-hmm.
Is they need those years of control on the front end. That's how they get these. That's who their good players are. It's not the guys on the back end. They're not paying for past production. So that is kind of where I fall in like the salary cap on the Brewers perspective. It's like, you don't want to trade that off for just so the Dodgers can only spend $250 million or whatever. Like I do not think there's a world in which a salary cap suppresses wages so much to the point where the Brewers are suddenly like, I mean, it's going to suppress wages, no doubt, but it's not going to suddenly change their behavior to where guys, oh, well, I can't sign in LA or Boston, so guess what? I'm going to take a year and $9 million in Milwaukee. No, that's not going to happen to the level that he wanted to. Not to offset, I think, the other effects for a team like the Brewers.
I just think that's a great primer. I wanted to run that by you, get a big picture take, because I think that's something that I've discussed on my show a lot. I appreciate that, Kurt. We will read you in the old school newspaper, which I absolutely love. I mean, I read online most days, but big stories, I get a hard copy. I do enjoy it. The Journal Sentinel and Brewer Territory, you and Corey Knable as well. Thank you for the time, friend.
Of course, Grant. I'll talk to you later.
Last couple of minutes, some great big picture baseball perspective from Kurt Hogg, and we got cut off in the first hour, so I wanted to make sure we got back to that. Let's take a phone call before we take our final break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. It's Coyote Mike.
Coyote Mike. I figured you might be lured
Colorado.
by some baseball chatter.
Yes, I wanted to compliment and call him Triple Take Todd from Green Bay.
Yeah, you just
That
kept
phone
going,
call
man.
was loaded for Bear.
It was.
He was loaded on that one. He made a lot of good observations, I thought. But I know it's up against the clock here, so just wanted to. I don't usually do predictions, but I will predict that the Brewers will win the World Series with Pat Murphy as the manager during his tenure, either this year or next year. And they're just a couple players away, so either they got to add somebody, or a couple guys got to really step it up. But I think you got guys like Churio, Frelick, I think Terang. I think right there is a trio of three guys that really could make an impact and just carry them through, to the end of the season instead of getting bounced out like they did last year.
I don't know if people realize how good Terang has been, and it's weird because I don't know. You just look back at the end of the season. It's like, okay, how many home runs, how many stolen bases, how good on defense? Like he's just statistically in some fairly rare air.
He just, to me, like last year, I got to watch a lot of the games on my phone, and I saw some of the plays he made. he is just so athletic in the second base spot that I think moving him out of there really would have changed the outcome of some of the games last year. And I think you just leave him there and you try to figure out if Ortiz can just start hitting the ball just a little better.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't need a ton.
That third, I don't know about this Rentifo kid or like you were saying the other day when I called Hamilton. You know, you never know. You just never know. The right things happen at the right time, the chemistry and all that. But like I said, I predict we will see a Brewers World Series victory sometime within the next 4 years.
Well, God, I hope so, Coyote Mike. We'll chat again soon. I appreciate the call. I think it's getting to the point. Well, here's the thing. Part of me wonders with some of the ways that they've maneuvered this offseason if they're just biding time until 2028 because of a lockout next year, and then by 2028, right? Churio's in his prime. They still have some what they assume is real star power in the minors. But then, the frustrating thing is Terang probably won't be here. Contreras won't be here. Yelich, unfortunately, might still be. We'll see. We'll see. Final segment, we'll listen to a little Jimmy Buffett wrap up the show. I'll also give you a U.S. hockey take next as we conclude the week.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Not only going out to Wisconsin and the great Midwest, we're going around the world tonight, Parrot Head.
Last couple minutes here, the Wisco Sports Show. I've really enjoyed Olympic hockey, and I know very little about hockey. But Chris in Sparta says, "Hey Grant, glad you're finally talking about hockey. Sounds like you've got the itch." I don't have a team, but I'm a patriot, and best on best Olympic hockey school. Says, I watched the Miracle on Ice as an 11-year-old, and it was amazing. Go USA and go Yuengling beer in Wisconsin. Finally, we've done the Yuengling thing. I'm excited for the gold medal game. I don't know what the line is. I'm not following it that closely. I'm just watching the games. Canada can finish, man. They can shoot. They're just the balls. Like their final goal today, I think it was McKinnon. Just like they have skill, a lot of it. And I think the United States is clearly very good. I mean, they looked awesome today against Slovakia. I don't know that they have enough of that thing. In a tie game when it's late and you might only get a shot or two at the goal, because it's not like they're going to be able to play the entire game with the rink tilted down on the Canadian end. It's not like they're going to get a big surplus of shots. Let's say the Canadians at a certain point in the game have 30 shots. The United States has 25. Like, I don't know that the United States is going to be able to convert enough of those. Anything can happen in one game. Sure. I don't know. The end of the Four Nations with Austin Matthews sticks in my mind where it's like, it's that thing. Like when you have opportunities to win and to slam the door, like, are you going to be able to convert? Plus Binnington, who mostly sucks. His numbers this year, terrible. But you know that when Canada's got a 3-2 lead with 4 minutes left in the third period on Saturday or Sunday morning, he's standing on his head. Like, you know he's going to do it. You just know that he's going to pull a couple unbelievable saves out of his rear end because that's what he does. He has backup level goalie numbers in the NHL this year. But you know that when the game is online, it was this way in the Four Nations. It's been this way in the playoffs before. Just ask Boston Bruins fans. Like, that's what you're getting. So the Binnington thing and the questions that I have about the United States being able to finish, they're bigger, they're stronger. I think they put this roster together to try to beat Canada where they left smaller, maybe more skilled players at home. Caulfield is one. It's been talked about in Wisconsin. I don't know. So Austin Matthews is maybe going to have to net a couple of pucks where it's like, man, and that's why he's Austin Matthews. Because that final goal, and I forgot who assisted it. Maybe it was McCarr. Like that final goal that McKinnon put in against the Finns today was like, yeah, the goalie's trying to get around. It's a savable puck, but he puts it in a window about the size of a Quick Trip sandwich. I don't know why I'm hungry. I'm getting food after the show. And he zips it. It's a piss missile. And it was the same against Sweden when they ripped that one in the back. And I don't remember who scored it, but I don't know that the United States, let's say there are, 2 or 3 moments over the course of a game where it's like, yeah, you know what? If you want to beat Canada for a gold medal, you have to net that one on a breakaway or random 3-on-2. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that. That's my very uneducated hockey take, but that's my concern. And it's probably everyone's concern because Canada's really good. So I'm not breaking news to you here. I'm not explaining the game to you in a way that you probably haven't understood. But that's kind of my POV going into Sunday. I'm very excited for this weekend. I'm going homeward to the Chippewa Valley. I'm going to go to the Liney Lodge tomorrow and drink a million beers. Very excited for that. Watch the Olympics, the gold medal game on Sunday morning. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and curling. Clearly, wall-to-wall curling acts. As much curling as I can get my arms around. Although I think there were some medal matches today, so maybe the curling's actually winding down. Have an excellent weekend. Don't eat meat tonight. Talk to you Monday.
What can we say? Thank you all very much. You sure make a boy from Mississippi feel right at home in Wisconsin. Thank you.